Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy. Thy will be done. And in just a few minutes, Rich Levinsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. And for those of you that only see the video portion of these programs, I want to remind you that our radio program is on every evening at 100.7 FM KWRD every evening from 8:30 to 9 p.m. every weekday evening. And we have 3 sessions instead of just the one that you're seeing in the video. We record the video one every Wednesday to give people a different way of looking at it. I wanted to discuss something that comes up all the time and has for the 49 years that I've been in this business. And it has to do with employers interviewing candidates and getting wrapped up and distracted by the way the candidate interviews and the way the candidate comes across and the mannerisms that a candidate might have in the interviewing process, rather than analyzing a candidate's track record. After we hire individuals, we find out that rarely is the person that we hired the same person that we, or looks like the same person that we interviewed. That's because interviewing is a staged, contrived event. Now, I'm not saying that candidates shouldn't interview well, because they should. But when employers, and it happens all the time, when hiring authorities, they get wrapped up in a candidate's mannerisms, or the candidate didn't look me in the eye, or the candidate kept saying, or the candidate didn't make a really good presentation about their job and why they left it. And we, as hiring authorities, have a tendency to overlook and not ask about track record. What you are trying to hire when you hire a candidate is performance. And the way you measure a candidate's performance is to measure their performance in the past and what their track record is. And oftentimes we get so wrapped up in the way that the candidate is communicating that we forget to really analyze and understand what the candidate is communicating. Lots of people don't interview very well. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't practice and do well in interviews, but they don't interview very well. Interviewing, they don't do it very often. And they will have a tendency to fumble with it and not do very well at it. And hiring authorities get wrapped up in and concerned about the manner rather than the matter. So if you're a hiring authority, what you want to be sure of is that you, pay attention to the manner, but pay more attention to the matter. Exactly what did you do in this job? How well did you do that job? How do we measure that? How do we check references on you to find out if you performed the way you say that you performed? Because what you're interested in is hiring performance and expecting that candidate to perform on a level that gives you satisfaction, and you're going to try to hire the best performer you can find. And so often we get wrapped up. This is especially true these days when we get candidates that are doing 30-minute Zoom interviews or 30-minute telephone interviews. You can't tell very much about anybody in 30 minutes. but you can sure get wrapped up in, do they look you in the eye? Do they not look you in the eye? What are their mannerisms? What's that background in their video on their Zoom or Skype or Teams? Well, what's with that? That sure looked kind of funny. And we get wrapped up in stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the candidate's performance. So make sure if you're a hiring authority, write out questions, and we have available questions here, a guide to the initial interview that are performance-based questions. What did you do? How did you do it? Make sure you really understand it. I spoke to an employer yesterday who interviewed one of my candidates, and as we were going over his background, the employer admitted, he told me kind of what he did at that job there, and I don't really remember. I mean, I got distracted, and I don't really know exactly what he did or exactly how well he did it. I probably ought to ask him more about that. Yeah, because you're looking to hire track record. People are going to perform for you about the way they've performed in the past. Please don't try to don't get wrapped up in the manner rather than the matter. Now, I know the manner is important. And if a candidate can't communicate really, really well, at least to the level that you need it, I understand. But don't get wrapped up in the way the candidate is communicating. Get wrapped up in what is the candidate communicating. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.